Must compose myself for this review. Must not fanboy. Must give a fair and reasonable review. G'day guys! Dave Lee coming at you once again from Down Under with another movie review. Today we are taking a very spoiler-free look at Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Alright, I am, like I said, I'm going to keep this completely spoiler-free. Don't know how the hell I'm going to do that because this movie, oh boy, how do I talk about this movie without spoilers? Okay, I'm going to do my absolute best. Of course, the last movie we left off with Rey taking Luke Skywalker's lightsaber to Luke Skywalker. The rebellion is in, well, a pretty dark time, surprisingly considering they just blew up Starkiller Base. Well, the First Order is out for them with a vengeance and they are coming down on them with all kinds of firepower. That's about it. That's about all I can tell you. Because anything else I tell you would be a spoiler, and once again, this is a spoiler-free review. This movie takes us on a ride that, to be honest, I just completely wasn't expecting. The trailers for this movie threw so many pieces of misdirection at us, it's not funny. In fact, I feel like about 80, maybe 90% of the trailers happen within the first act of the film. This movie, unlike really any other movie I think I've ever seen, throws so many twists and turns at you, and then more twists and turns, and more twists and turns, and just when you think you've got your head around this movie, it throws you for another tailspin. You cannot predict this movie. This movie is always 2 steps ahead of you every single step of the way. I think that was kind of cool, because a lot of people were complaining about The Force Awakens being predictable. It was just a remake of A New Hope. No one's going to be saying that about this movie. This movie is not Empire Strikes Back Mark II. No way, this is like a completely original story, and like I said, it was just nothing like what I was really expecting. And that's really, really good. The only similarity that this movie has with The Empire Strikes Back is the fact that it takes these characters that we've built up in the first movie, and we love and we know so well already, and then it splits them up. And that is, I think that's a good formula to have for a sequel. Not a lot of franchises dare to do that. Star Wars did that beautifully with Empire Strikes Back. More recently, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 did that as well. It's such an awesome thing to do because it raises the stakes in the movie. It feels like everything that you know and you love is torn apart. And that, I think, is such a wonderful sort of formula. And it's, like I said, it's so brave and so daring for a filmmaker to do that because a lot of filmmakers sort of go back on what they know. People love the relationships with these characters. People want to see more adventures with these characters, with each other. So they just rely on that. But this movie daringly splits your characters apart and just makes something completely new. I'm going to say I love this movie. This movie was everything that I wanted and everything that I didn't think I knew I wanted. I felt like this movie was really solid in that it almost feels like this could have worked as the end of this trilogy. So many things are answered here. Most of the questions you have are pretty much answered in this. You come out the end of it with a few more, but I felt like a sense of relief. When I come out of Force Awakens, it's like, oh my lord, 2 years. I have to wait to find out what's going to happen next. This one I kind of feel like I'm comfortably satisfied. It's almost like, okay, I can deal waiting another 2 years to find out what happens next. This movie's so daring. Rian Johnson threw so many things at this movie. There's so many things going on at a time, and I think he juggles that so beautifully. He has so many characters to juggle with, but he gives each one of them the spotlight that they deserve. There's so much more Poe here than in The Force Awakens. I thought that was fantastic. Poe is an amazing character, one of my favorite characters. Finn gets some amazing moments in this, and of course Rey and Luke Skywalker and their scenes are just incredible. Mark Hamill is fantastic in this movie. He delivers a really, really touching, beautiful, haunting portrayal of Luke Skywalker at this time of his life. Carrie Fisher gets some incredibly beautiful moments to shine. She has a huge role in this movie as they've been promising, and I feel like it really is, and again, not a spoiler, this isn't revealing anything about her fate in the movie, but I feel like this movie, as the last performance of Carrie Fisher, as the last appearance of her as Princess Leia, I feel like it was a beautiful, beautiful way to send her off, and I feel like they just haven't touched her performance, and that's what I kind of wanted going into this movie. I wanted them to just leave her performance and leave her last movie as it was intended. I feel like that shows respect. Kylo Ren in this movie, oh my lord, he gets his moment to shine, and Adam Driver is spectacular. spectacular. Adam Driver is everything that you wanted Hayden Christensen to be in the prequel trilogy. Kylo Ren is such a layered, conflicted character. This is the Anakin that we should have had in the prequel trilogy. Snoke is an enigma still to me after having seen this movie. He gets a lot of screen time, he gets a lot more than maybe you'd imagine he would, and I think every moment of that screen time is fantastic. We got some awesome new characters in here as well. We have got Rose, who is fantastic. She's a really wonderful character with some really great moments. We've got Vice Admiral Holdo, who was played by Laura Dern. She is completely different to kind of what you were expecting, and I really like the character. We've got Benicio del Toro here as DJ, again, completely different to what you were expecting from this character, but a lot of fun. There's so much going on in this. I feel like maybe one little qualm I had with it was that the first maybe half hour felt a little bit rocky. This whole movie feels very, very different to The Force Awakens. It's a very different style. Rian Johnson brings this really unique style to this movie, but at the same time makes it feel like a Star Wars film. I feel like this is the most Star Wars movie we have had for a very long time. Another little problem I may have had with this that sort of keeps it from being a perfect movie is a lot of humor in this. The best way I can describe it is it's very similar to the humor that you see in Marvel movies. I love the humor in Marvel movies. I know a lot of people have a problem with it. I don't. I think it's great. But I feel like that humor maybe doesn't belong in the Star Wars universe. There's a few laughs that I think are great. I mean, even the original trilogy had some great comedy with R2-D2 and C-3PO. But I feel like Johnson maybe pushes some of the humor just a little bit too far. A lot of the jokes just, it didn't land for me. And I feel like that sort of pulled me out of the movie a little bit out of a few spots. And I don't know whether that is a Rian Johnson thing or whether maybe that's a Disney thing, because it felt very Disney, very Marvel comedy. The last half an hour, 45 minutes of this movie is just completely balls to the wall action. And Rian Johnson makes some incredibly, incredibly risky moves with this movie. There's a lot of stuff in here that I wasn't expecting until maybe the last chapter of this trilogy, and it's just thrown at you. It's like, holy crap, I was not expecting this to happen at this moment. There's so much going on at the end of this movie that it's insane. People in the cinema were just sort of looking around at each other like, what the hell is going on? So at the end of the movie, I stood up and there were people like this. Spent. People were just exhausted by the end of this, and I think that was fantastic. This movie's so daring, it's so huge, the scale of this is enormous. Force Awakens sort of feels like a really small, intimate movie compared to this, and I feel like this could very well be the best Star Wars movie we have had since The Empire Strikes Back. I'm gonna have to come back and do a proper review where I can just spoil the hell out of this movie for those people who have seen it and just want to hear me just sort of discuss this movie in length. There's so many great moments in here, so many great Easter eggs, so many great callbacks to the other movies, and just so many things I cannot mention here that I'm bursting to talk about, but I just can't. This movie's fantastic. You're gonna go out and see it. Look, I don't even know if I can put a rating on this movie at this point, because I feel like if I gave this movie 5 porgs out of 5, I would maybe just be fanboying. Stuff it, I'm giving it 5 porgs out of 5. That may be amended, though, by the time I see it again. Rian Johnson, you've made a fantastic Star Wars movie, a fantastic movie, and I can't wait to see it again. The porgs, by the way, I didn't like them. I didn't care for the porgs at all. And at that, I'm going to close out this spoiler-free review because I feel the more that I talk, the more I'm just going to spoil. So I'm going to close this off before I ruin anything for anyone out there. So, look, if you're a first-time viewer of my channel and you like what you've seen and you would like to see some more, then please, after the jump, hit that big old subscribe button at the end of the video. To all my regular subscribers out there, thank you once again for joining me. To absolutely everybody out there, don't forget to hit that like button down below. That does a great deal in getting my videos out there. Look, I hope I'll see everyone again soon. Until next time, though, guys, take care, and may the Force be with you.